Hey players, I'm going to talk about how I think about players and your mental game. There's three types of players. There's plus ones, zeros, and minus ones. What do I mean by that? A plus one is somebody who adds to every other player on the court when they're on the court. They're the type of player who makes other players better. How do they do this? They do this through a great attitude, encouraging other players, providing constructive feedback for how to work better as a team. They're the type of players that everybody wants to play with because it makes them better. The next type of player is the zeros. The zeros are the players who come, they get on the court, and they have no effect on the person who is next to them. Probably play well, but as far as their ability to impact those around them, they don't really have a big impact. Now, the final type of player is the minus one. The minus one, as you can probably guess at this point, is the type of player who has a negative impact on the players around them. They make the players around them worse. This usually is because of a really bad attitude on the court. You might get angry when there's a bad call by the ref, when another player makes a mistake, maybe you yell at them or get aggressive. Maybe from the bench, you're making calls that are not helpful to the team. You're saying things that are not encouraging. Things that make other players upset. So that's a minus one. Now, plus ones are great to have on the team. Coaches want plus ones on their team. You can handle a bunch of zeros. Zeros are okay. Minus ones are dangerous. No matter how good your technical skill is on the court, having a minus one on your team is dangerous. Here's the trick. A player isn't always a plus one or always a zero or always a minus one. Players can move through all three of those states, but typically what you see is a plus one moves between plus one and a zero moves between zero and minus one. A plus one has a really good attitude. They're coming, they're encouraging, they're helping other teammates. Sometimes maybe they come to the court and they're just tired. They didn't get a good sleep the night before. Maybe they're having a tough day. You might be a zero for a tournament or for a practice, but then you come back the next week, you might be a plus one again. Minus ones are the kind of player who normally when they're on the court, they're sort of steady. They're not having necessarily a positive impact around them, but they're not having a negative impact. But when something goes wrong, all bets are off. Ref makes a bad call, all of a sudden they're upset, or they make a mistake themselves and they're mad at themselves. And you can see it in their face. And someone being really mad at themselves in the court, even that can affect the person who's beside you. It's not a productive mindset, and it takes the whole team down. So this is the language I'm going to be using when we're on the court. We're going to be talking about, are you being a plus one? Are you being a zero? Are you a minus one at any point during the game? And I encourage you to all find ways to build your mental toughness, to work towards being at least a zero, but certainly strive to be a plus one on our team.